Right.
And anything to say?
Welcome to
Yeah,
another
I'm exploring it.
video on more hungry debates or on hungry debates. Yeah,
Uh, let's
we wanted to talk about the recent U.S.
uh,
Successful
who
military
came up with that
campaign.
name?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I did. Right. In fact, you
right.
did. You came up.
No, I only did with the last part.
Yeah, the hungry debates. I thought the war was interesting. Anyways,
No,
right.
no, it's kind of something that doesn't make any sense to anybody. But yeah, that's how we called.
so
All right,
so
Cowabunga.
now what for you? You felt well. Can you take us through what happened? What was the
Yeah,
timeline of events?
I have one.
You know,
Which one?
the,
Which one
about
specifically you're talking
when the
about?
Venezuelan president got caught. Could you kind of
Honestly, I think everybody knows that. Everybody should know that he basically got caught
I don't, but
in
go
his
ahead.
compound. Oh, okay, I'll tell you. He got caught in his compound. The Donald Trump. Well, not literally Donald Trump, but the long arm of Donald Trump reached out, grabbed him by the neck, and brought him into New York, basically. And it took them like 3 hours to
But
basically to
isn't
fulfill
it
this. And
illegal what he just did? Because he basically went
yeah,
into a sovereign
absolutely
country.
illegal. Absolutely,
He went
absolutely
into a
illegal.
sovereign country, took out the president of a sovereign
Mm,
country, and
absolutely
extradited
illegal,
him to the
except for
United
one thing.
States.
Except for one thing, because Maduro was indicted in the U.S. Did you know that?
Oh, okay. So in fact, there
So
was
it's kind of
already
legal. It's
I
kind of
see.
legal.
So, and what on what crimes on what grounds was he indicted?
Drugs, drug
Okay.
related stuff.
So you
Because
mean he's part of
he's
the
allegedly the head of the cartel that runs the country. He's allegedly. Well, even if he's not the head of the cartel, he's like a top, a
top,
high-ranking individual
right?
within that
Right.
yeah.
Right. Either way, he has strong connections or deep connections with the cartel. Right.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Right.
That's
And
beyond any doubt, beyond a reasonable
and
doubt.
and but okay, so he was indicted on drugs, but at the same time he's a
Yeah.
president, right? You know.
Yeah,
So
you can also argue that he rigged his last election, which many people would say he did.
right.
So his legality is very
I'll
questionable.
tell you I'll tell you
Very
one thing.
questionable.
The only silver lining is that he gets to go to America for free. No
Oh yeah,
visa.
that's cool. That's cool. No visa, man.
So,
Yeah, and he
uh,
gets free accommodation, free housing.
right. He's like he's not living in like some kind of like slum, right? He's living in a
Yeah,
hotel, things like this, right?
and he lives in the same place where Puff Daddy used to be, you know.
Okay.
So so
So
yeah, on the same line with P. Diddy, Jeffrey Epstein, Epstein,
Epstein. Mhm.
Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, that he's dead. Anyway, so basically what happened is he got captured, he got transported, and he got locked up. And he's gonna face trial, I think today. He's gonna face his first hearing. But have you seen those people celebrate? Have you seen them celebrate in
No,
Venezuela?
literally, I've been very disconnected. But
Really?
so tell me about it. What,
Man,
like,
I feel for them. I feel for them because I personally come from the same background as well, not
you know,
exactly not from
okay.
Venezuela. I'm not from Venezuela, no. But I feel for them because I come from a country with a questionable past and
Yeah.
questionable present, so I can definitely relate to them, and I would be there amongst them absolutely on the following day. Of
So
course,
the
not
people
not
are
during
cheering,
the
but
event.
okay. So they've gotten rid of the top man in the cartel,
It's not over.
but
It's not over yet.
it's exactly right. The way these things work is there's always someone else to fill in the shoes. I don't want to be pessimistic about these things, but the problem is that
No, it's okay to be pessimistic. It's okay.
no,
It's
no.
it's totally fine.
But my point is that
Mm.
maybe this opinion is wrong. But the problem with Venezuela, and not just Venezuela, a lot of South American countries, and I think many South Americans would agree with me, is that the people don't have the mindset of taking control of their own country. They believe in being shepherded. They believe in being taken care of by the big father, so to
Oh
speak, the
man,
big
man,
president, because of the socialism, because of their mindset is the government, the country needs to take care of us, and that's
yeah,
a
maybe
problem.
that's true. That may be true.
That's
That
a
may be true.
problem because it means that my life is shit because the government is not taking care of me. Rather than
But
my life is shit, I need to do something about it. And
but hold on a second. But you can first of all, mindset is something that can be changed. Do you agree with that?
sure, I absolutely, absolutely.
Maybe they have that mindset, and I believe that many people have that. How should I put it? Sort of pessimistic mindset, I would say, about their own responsibilities, abilities, etc.
And the
But
capacities, right?
my,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
exactly. But they can change their mindset. And first of all, not all people have this mindset. Some people they have completely different mindset, and they will be absolutely happy to start a new life, to really to have all the roads open, so to speak, for them. Yeah, and but again, the problem with Venezuela is that the country is shitty. You told me last time you had this conversation with a guy from Venezuela, and he showed you the prices, like $50 for a bleach, for a carton of bleach.
$50 for like
That's
cornflakes and stuff, right? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's just crazy. Uh,
Right.
uh,
Mm.
and again, I have another example. A friend of mine here is taking Spanish lessons from somebody from Venezuela, and she's charging like $6 per hour, which is like nothing. And
Right, right, right.
so
Mm.
you can imagine, the situation out there. Uh,
Right, right. It's, and I can't fathom how they're living because you know, yeah, yeah. Um, but the
Well,
problem
I can give you
is
a brief history, by the way. So what happened in Venezuela over the past 30 years is that first Hugo Chavez,
Hugo
Hugo,
Chavez. Yeah.
Hugo
Mm.
Chavez, he came into power. He basically uh, installed socialism, and but that was not as bad as when Maduro came into power, because the country still had this heritage of the past prosperity. So basically, they were just squandering the money, and during during the Chavez period, they still have had a lot of money to squander. So the country lived more or less okay, and I believe that some people even lived much better life under Chavez, because he was basically giving the money away. But then the money, the
Right,
torrent,
right.
the stream of money just kind of fizzled out. And then when Maduro came into power, he didn't have the same resource base, and he really had to basically, save
For
up
the people
for his
watching,
living.
right?
Yeah,
Venezuela is a major oil exporter. This is where the money came
yeah,
from, right?
20% of the world's supplies.
So, and it's not like the oil ran out.
The
So,
biggest the biggest oil exporter.
yeah. So, so then even more than Saudi Arabia and stuff, right? So, why, Saudi Arabia is able to make these tall buildings, is able to give money to the Saudis and Kuwait as well, and things
Well,
like that. Why can't the same
well,
thing
first of all,
happen in Venezuela?
Well,
Like, and how did
first
the
of all,
money run out? Mhm.
because they're squandering it. They're squandering. They miss. How should I put it? They mismanage it
Misappro
terribly.
Mismanage it or misappropriate it.
Yeah, they mismanage it terribly. And first of all, they lost 80% of their oil production. Did you know that? Over that 30
Oh,
years period, they literally lost
oh,
it. They lost 80% of
lost
their
it?
oil.
You can
Yeah,
only lose it if you don't maintain the oil rigs, right?
yeah,
You know?
that's what happened. That was happening because all that. But you have to understand what happened. They nationalized it, and all those oil companies they left. They took their people and left, and there was nobody there to maintain these oil capacities.
Wow.
Uh,
So the
Right.
very
So again,
the very
so they
fountains
lost.
of gold that they had, they literally
Yeah.
put a stop in it, right? And then so in a way, this turn of events was kind of inevitable, right? Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. Well, inevitable under Chavez and Maduro.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
continue,
Well,
right? So
that's
after
socialism.
Chavez,
That's communism, basically.
and then
Well, it's
because
not communism, but that's socialism.
yeah, I mean,
That's yeah.
yeah, that's right, socialism, and there are different opinions about Chavez. There's some positive ones, some negative ones, but some people see him as a dictator, some people see him as a liberator. Depends on your interpretation of the history. Mm.
Can you wait a sec?
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I have this a technical thing. Can you wait a sec, please? Yeah. Okay. I,
you're back. You're back.
because hold on a sec. I have this. What the? Okay. Yeah, I sorted it. I sorted it out.
Yeah,
Anyway,
good.
so yeah, because I was beginning to hear some YouTube, some other voices in my headphones.
You hear
Anyway,
it,
yeah,
that's a
I hear a
sign.
voice in my headphones. Only in my headphones. Only in my headphones. I tested it. If you take them
Right.
off, no voices. Okay, so
Right.
so what yeah, again, so what I was saying is that they lost their oil production basically. And
Right.
they got
Right.
overwhelmed by cartels and by basically by and they got invaded. Did you know they got invaded by China and Iran? So it's
Really?
well, I mean yeah they have a lot of Chinese and Iranians there, um,
When you say
doing
invaded, you
all
mean a lot
sorts
of
of
immigration, you mean?
yeah. Well, I mean, not yeah, just like business related immigration. So they have a lot of business do
People coming in,
they do
buying
a
up
lot of
all
business
the
with China.
buying
Yeah,
up
yeah,
all the
yeah, yeah,
land and
yeah.
the buildings and
Yeah.
stuff, right?
By
Right.
the way, maybe it would be interesting to buy a plot of land in Venezuela. Maybe it should be very cheap now, and yeah, maybe it gets better in 20 years time or something. I
Mm.
know.
Yeah, yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Uh, but where do we go from here? Um,
Well,
this
that's
is
interesting. Where do we
just
go from here? Yeah,
yeah. Go
because I
ahead.
think we have two possibilities. So now they have this vice president who took power, and I think Trump made a very clear statement that if she does not comply, she's gonna suffer even more than Maduro. That's basically what he said. And well, so she can either comply, and I think by complying, she has to, run a democratic election or something like that. And well, yeah, and if she does not comply, there will probably be more strikes on Venezuela.
Right,
Yeah,
right. And then the whole what's the whole aim of this anyway? I mean, this because obviously America is not interested in humanitarian causes, right?
obviously
Um,
not.
right.
Of course
So
not.
okay,
They don't
at least
care.
we're
But
in
no, no.
agreement on
Hold on a
that point.
second. They don't care. They don't care like you and I would care, but they do
Right,
care to a certain degree because they want to maintain the whole thing profitable. You know what I mean? They
right,
and because if it sinks too deep in terms of humanitarian things, it becomes unprofitable. So they want to
right.
keep it at a certain level, and that's
Certain
why they
level of
want to have this sort of democratic, la la la. Basically, they want to
right,
keep for the majority of the people. They want for them to be happy
right.
because when they're happy, they're very profitable.
Well, to add to what you're saying and to give more context is you see when there's a failed state, this is when the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, comes in. They're able to give loans. They're able to, give loans with strings like, okay, make these changes in your laws, in your constitutions, whatever, and then we can give you this money. Then all these kind of aid charities come along, and so what happens is there's this kind of privatization of the country for American corporations. And so what happens is when you say profitable, it's profitable for American corporations to come in and to essentially run the show. And so things need to be functioning somewhat for American corporations to come in and to build their infrastructure.
Those investors have to be sure that no one's going to steal their money.
Basically, and this is what you're talking about, right? And so they come in to sort of, they swooped in to just kind of, they intervene because basically Venezuela is spiraling down. Is that right? Yeah.
Absolutely. Inflation.
Yeah.
Galloping prices.
So right now, I mean, Venezuela is a failed state, right? I mean.
Yeah, pretty much so.
And then, so it will be like Haiti. It will be like Yemen. It will be like any of these countries where it's just,
Yeah, of course, Americans are there for the oil and maybe for some other things there, because I think the country has a lot of resources, like, and they're definitely there for the oil because if they control the oil, they control oil prices very much so, and it gives them a lot of control, and at the same time they make sure that the Chinese don't grab that oil, and
right. So in other words, I mean, actually now that we're talking about oil, it's clicking in my head because Venezuela has, from what I understand, more oil. I don't know which has more, Russia or Venezuela.
Venezuela, Russia only has 6% of the oil, and Venezuela has almost 20%. It is the top, number one country with oil supplies.
Right, with oil reserves. We're talking about 20% of oil reserves, right? Globally, right? And the rest of the countries have.
I'm talking about the known ones because there are many probably unknown ones, undiscovered, but the whole land was very, very, very well investigated, and a lot of oil was discovered. And
so in other words, it has 20% of global supplies, global reserves,
discovered reserves,
and then the next one below them, is Russia at 6%.
Maybe Saudi, maybe Russia. I think Russia has only 6
Russia
or
9%. Russia has more than Saudi. No. Right? Yeah.
Okay, Russia has more than Saudi, but Russian oil is very hard to get.
Oh.
Because it's in the north. It's conditions are it's cold basically.
Right.
It's freaking cold.
Yeah.
Minus 40 degrees.
Right. So, in other words, Venezuelan oil is abundant and easy
it's very
to
tempting.
access. Right.
Yeah, it's very tempting.
So, meaning that if you have control over those reserves, you have big control. It's kind of like Iran's control of they have a canal that they control, right? That goes to China, right? And Iran was going to use that as leverage. So it's something like that in a way. Controlling the Venezuelan output means that you have more control in of global geopolitics and stuff. So it makes sense for in America's interest to have their hands in it. Okay, that makes sense to me now. So I was always wondering why Venezuela, right? Like,
okay. I would say that Venezuela is basically it's a solved problem for me. I think that they will comply. My take is that my prediction is that they will comply with whatever Donald Trump says, and they will basically throw themselves in the arms, the welcome arms of America. I don't think they have any choice.
It will basically become an American vassal state, right? Yeah.
That's what I want. I want for them to become.
I mean,
I'm pretty sure many people will really find it a very good position to find themselves in.
Yeah. maybe in the short term, it makes sense for them to become an American vassal state,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But in the long term, I don't think so, right? Because I don't believe in this empire
What do you mean by
nonsense,
that?
right?
Well, but
Basically, I believe it. The idea of, well, actually, this is interesting. I do, you see, because I disagree with nationalism, but I do agree that people should be able to be determine who they are. So, they need to be the ultimate determinants of who they are. It is nonsense to call yourself Venezuelan and then your president does everything the American
yeah,
president wants, right? That's nonsense.
let me just ask you this: do you think that people of Venezuela, because what they are now is a very poor country that is more of of a drug cartel than a country, and they live on like a couple of dollars a day, or maybe even less. Do they think that's what that's how they see themselves? Do you really think that how they see themselves, or maybe there's some extra, not extraterrestrial, but some extra power from without, right, from the outside power that pushes them towards this and does not allow them to to see themselves what they are? Because you say Americans controlling, but uh, Americans didn't control Venezuela until now, and look what happened. And but I'm pretty sure that someone else was controlling Venezuela, uh, implicitly, sort of secretly. And who were those countries who probably controlled Venezuela? China, Russia, and Iran. These are
Mhm.
three countries that were behind. Russia was supplying weapons, by the way, and those weapons didn't work at all because zero American helicopters were shot down, which is good. Uh, so I don't believe that that was the choice of Venezuelan peoples, to be a
No,
drug cartel.
in a way, they are between a rock and a hard place. They're between, a shit situation and even shittier situation. And ultimately, all anyone wants is to have a decent life, to raise their children in relative safety, and so on and so forth. And I know that many Venezuelans dream of leaving Venezuela. No one wants to live in Venezuela. That's not a
Yeah,
country.
well, I
That's
don't
not
know.
that's not a good kind of country. You need a country where the people are willing to stay. Like in Poland. Poland has reached a point now where Polish people, they would rather stay
They're
in
proud of
Poland,
themselves.
and,
Yeah,
and they would rather stay
absolutely.
in Poland than go to Britain, right?
And
For example.
a lot of people want to go to Poland.
Right. So you want that kind of situation for Venezuela or for any other country, right?
Oh
Like
yeah, oh
in the
yeah.
Philippines as well, a lot of people they go overseas because really there's no opportunities here,
Yeah,
right?
but
You
hold
know,
on a second. Yeah, let's just let's stay here for a moment. Like you said, many people in Venezuela they want to leave the country, but do you think they? I mean, if they, why do they want to leave? Because the country's shitty, right? If the
yeah,
country was
no,
more or
no
less
way to make
decent,
money.
they would probably prefer to stay in their country because
Absolutely,
they have a home
absolutely,
there, they have parents there, grandparents, things like
absolutely,
that,
absolutely,
friends,
absolutely,
etc., etc. So
exactly.
that's just another indicator of how shitty the country is, and that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if the people could just earn some money, that's what they don't have the
Yeah.
ability to do, to earn money, then they would be very happy. Yeah. Um,
Oh, yeah. Very
yeah.
much so.
So let's
So
make
again, to wrap it up, I just want to pose this little question to you. Who goes next? Who bites the dust next, do you think? Is it Cuba? Is it Iran? Is it Colombia? Because
oh
basically Donald
yeah.
Trump said something bad about that guy. Is it maybe Mexico? Because Donald Trump said that Mexico is just yet another drug cartel?
Well,
Or maybe is it
let's
Russia?
if the oil is the common is the real interest in all of this, then it would make sense to follow the oil, right? Um,
But
so
what would you bet on?
Iran,
Bet
on
on
Iran.
Iran.
I
Yeah,
would
me
bet on
too.
Iran. Yeah.
Because there's a commotion right now, right?
With the
A huge
hijab
one.
protests and stuff, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I think Israel, they also want,
yeah.
to stretch
I mean,
their greedy hand.
I was expecting something at the end of last year, but it's now 2026. So, it's kind of overdue. And not that I would like it, but it's overdue, right? And so I feel that
Yeah, it's
this year,
overripe. The fruit is already too ripe.
that's right. So, in other words, this year I feel that it's going to be about Iran, Israel, and
Iran,
America.
Iran.
And I think
So you
like
think
Russia, Ukraine is
that?
going to be a thing of the past. Israel, Gaza is already a thing of the past. So I think,
Yeah, that would be great.
this year is
That
going
would
to
be
be
great.
about Iran, and people are going to know more about Iran this year. That's
Yeah.
my prediction. Yeah. So,
Cool. Okay, so let's. But what is your prediction? Do you think that the Ayatollah's regime will fall,
so this is interesting.
or there's going to be a civil war, maybe?
It depends on uh, how strong the anti-regime faction is, right? My feeling is that very
Enough yet?
that the the Ayatollah regime are not as competent as people believe, right? They're not as competent, they're not as brave, they're not as organized and so
Yeah,
they although it's not like they let
I agree with
themselves
that.
make the same mistakes twice, but they're not competent, they're not organized, right? Because if they were,
Right.
they wouldn't have gotten the air defense system destroyed by Israel. They wouldn't have
No, they wouldn't
chickened
have
out.
gotten. They wouldn't
They
have
wouldn't
gotten
have.
it from Russia.
They wouldn't have chickened out on the 12-day war. They would have made it a 14-day war, a 20-day war, a 30-day
Okay.
war. They,
I like this great gradation here. Like, okay, let's make it 14-day war.
so like
We're gonna
they
throw
chickened out.
stones at you.
They chickened out. Instead of
Stone you.
extending it, and for what? For what?
Mm.
With some possible future? No. They they
Do you
they
think that
just
they
want.
should have been defiant and audacious, back in the day when
I
Israel bombed them?
so right. So the fact is, they're willing to fight, and there will be a war, right? And from what I
Who are
read, uh,
the
so
old guy, the
I'm
old
saying,
bearded man?
wait. So the regime will fight, right? And
Okay.
and you know, what they would.
I know who will fight. I know who will fight. All the people who are not going to survive the regime change will fight for their life for sure. And I'm sure there are a lot of people who will not survive the regime change because there's
So I think, is the regime gonna change? I hope so. I hope so because
you want to see those Iranian women
everything
wearing miniskirts.
basically, right? For me personally, the regime doesn't have any value Islamically, right? Because they instead of championing real Islam, they're championing they just want to have power under the name of Islam, and that's really it. So I really think, and they haven't taken their responsibility seriously, the responsibility to take care of their own citizens, their responsibility to advance their country, their responsibilities to protect other Muslims. They haven't taken those responsibilities, and so they're going to be taken out, right? I believe I'm a firm believer that if you're given responsibility, if you're given a position, so America, as an example, actually took out Maduro, right? Meaning that
Yeah,
they had the capacity to do it, and they did it, right?
yeah, and
And
that was done brilliantly, brilliantly. Like
and
a pinch in the
my
butt, and that's it.
my personal opinion is that when a
Uh,
country fulfills its divine sort of responsibilities, because the capacity there, in my opinion, was given to it by God. And so it fulfilled that. Now, when a country doesn't fulfill its capacity, it will lose its
Mm.
capacity. That's my. It's not exactly scientific what I'm saying,
Yeah, well, that's
but
an existential idea, right? Like,
yeah, existential kind of
I
thing.
think it also works on the human level.
That's what I'm saying. So, the Iran has not made has not done what it should do for itself, for its people, has not done what it should do for its neighbors. It has killed more Muslims than
Than
under
non-Muslims,
on
let's put it, let's,
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
no, let's say
Yeah,
it the right
yeah,
way.
yeah. Than non-Muslims. It has killed more Muslims through its proxies. You know, it has
Right.
been a scourge in the Middle East, and so it needs to go. It needs to go, in my opinion. Now, to have a proper democratic nation, right, that will actually be something similar to its former glory days, right?
Mm.
But we'll have to see. We'll have to
Right.
see. Yeah.
I just want to add here that I condemn killing of either Muslims and non-Muslims.
Sure, sure.
I think I said something that can be interpreted.
Right.
So I condemn every killing out there.
Absolutely. Kudos to America for not even killing Maduro. It says a lot, I think. Well,
Again, no one's gonna regret the guy.
yeah,
Are you gonna regret Maduro?
I don't know the guy, so, but yeah, but
No, but no one's gonna regret him. No one,
let's
no one. So
yeah,
I don't
let's
think
wrap it. Yeah,
yeah, let's wrap it.
yeah,
Yeah,
let's wrap it. Let's wrap it. Yeah,
wrap
very
it.
nice, man.